Good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me. Our session today is going to be 30 to 45 minutes because I have to travel tonight. So, all right. And I did not want us to postpone the class again. All right, please let's remind everyone, wisdom class has started. Share. All right, so you know the drill. I'm so excited about what I want to teach tonight because it's something that I've been studying and reading. And I noticed that a lot of us don't pay attention to things like this. And I believe strongly that if you take to action what you will learn today, you will be able to make better decisions, which will add up to the ultimate success of your life. All right, so drop your name and your location. Quickly, let's do that in 2 minutes. Drop your name and your location. In 2 minutes. Travel from Lagos. Okay, peace from Lagos. I'm great. All right, Oluwasemilore from Angola, Launde. You have been very consistent. Chris from Lagos. All right, let's tell everyone to join in quickly. Our session tonight is going to be short. Like I said earlier, I am traveling tonight, so I need to keep to my promise by having this session tonight. We couldn't have it yesterday because I had a discipleship call with my father in the Lord, so I had to postpone the meeting. And then I promised to have it today, and I have to do it today. That's why we moved it to 8 instead of 9. For some of you that are asking or wondering, you may or may not have wanted to ask, I have to travel tonight out of Lagos for another meeting. So you would bear with me. All right, while we're still waiting for others to join, I would go ahead. I feel led to say a word of prayer. Lord, I pray today that every word and every knowledge that will be shared today will be for our benefit, that the ears and the hearts of everyone listening to me is open to receive, and it will profit them for success that you have placed ahead of them in the name of Jesus. I cancel any form of distraction. I cancel any enemy that will block their ear from hearing so that they will make decisions. So shall it be in Jesus' mighty name. All right, so we're 16. I would move ahead while others are joining. I know that if you remember in the caption I shared on the various group, the course for this session is the discipline for personal growth. That's the course for this session. All right. So today we are going to be looking at today's part two. This month we are looking at mental transformation. Like I said earlier, we have three core focus for wisdom class: mental transformation, personal development, career, and business growth. I come again: mental transformation, career develop, mental transformation, personal development, career, and business growth. Someone should please drop it in the chat section. These are the three things. These are three core focus for wisdom class under the arm of Original Academy, under Coach Olumide, is personal growth, personal development, mental transformation, business, and individual growth. Mental transformation, personal development, business, and individual growth. All right. So we are looking at mental reconstruction for success. Last week was part one, and this is part two. While I would be going ahead because of limited time, someone should just drop what they learned. Yes, mental transformation, personal development, business, and individual growth. Yes. All right. So you can drop in the chat section what you learned last week so that I know that you're following me. Today we'll be looking at understanding and overcoming bias. Business and career growth. Yes, I remember. I was wondering that there's something missing. I mixed up something. So it's personal development, mental transformation, business, and career growth. Yes, not individual growth. And it's important for me to thank you, Peter. Peter, is this the first time you're joining? The name looks new. And it's important for me to mention this so that we are all aligned and we know what we are doing. My vision for this school or for wisdom class is to raise kingdom believers who are mentally equipped, financially stable, and are instruments of change in their sphere. I believe strongly that Christians should be the apex individual in business and in career, that everyone should always look up to them as a symbol, though John lives with great, as a symbol of hope and transformation. I've spoken to a couple of believers and Christians, and I notice we blame God and ascribe to God what we should do for ourselves, which is detrimental to our growth. And that's why you see that some people on Fridays would club, have more than one mistress or guys, they live promiscuous life on the weekends. But Monday to Friday, they are so effective in the work, they get promoted, and you're wondering, me that I even know God, things are not moving as fast as it should. This person that's just doing life anyhow is succeeding. Is because there are principles to success that God has provided to everyone. And success is relative because you might think the person is succeeding in their career, but there are other areas where they're not doing so well. And for me, I believe that individuals who are believers should grow 360 degree. So your personal development, your personal life, your career and business growth, your health, your relationship with people, and finally your finance. So these 5 key areas are areas for business, career growth, personal development, and mental transformation. So we're looking at understanding bias. And what we're going to learn today is why bias matters. In fact, there's some of you that have an idea of some of the things that I'll teach today, and there's some people that have never heard of what I'm going to teach today. Why does this matter? Why are we looking at understanding and why are we looking at understanding and overcoming bias? The first thing to note is success is a result of repeated sound decisions. Fortunately and unfortunately, a lot of our decisions are built on biases that we are conscious of or not conscious of. Biases silently influence our thinking and behavior. They influence how you think, and the way you think is the way you act, and the way you act becomes your behavior, and your behavior becomes an habit that is repeated, and your habit becomes the identity that people know you to be. So we see that biases are very important to you making good decisions. So what our topic today is going to talk about mental transformation and personal development, because it's going to look at how you can change the way you think and how you can get better at what you are doing. Why this is also important is to grow. We must understand and overcome these mental filters. Now, there are a lot of biases, it's cognitive and non-cognitive, but today I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to biasly pick 5 biases that I believe plague a lot of us in our day-to-day lives. So even I myself used a certain form of bias to pick some of the topics because there are a lot. But maybe next week we will continue on some of the other biases so that we can learn and grow and get better at it. They have its advantages and their disadvantages. I want you to know that we are all biased. I clearly said earlier on that I picked this topic because I believe that these are some of the things that plague us generally as young individuals. As long as you are below 55 or 60, you are still a young individual. Young at heart, young in mind. Please let's remind everyone on the Wisdom group chat that our session has started. I want to let you know that every one of us are biased. Every one of us are biased, one way or the other. You may not agree, you may be conscious of it, you may even not be conscious of it. No, I'm not biased. I'm very logical. A lot of us believe that we are very logical as compared to being emotional. I put it to you that even your ability to think logically, you grows or find its root in some biases that you are aware of or you may not be aware of. My purpose today, after this call, is to expose you to some of the biases and then show you how you can overcome it. I'm going to tell you for a fact, every one of us on this call falls short of at least 2 of the 5 I'm mentioning today. That's a huge number. Out of 5, I can tell you for a fact without running a sample. When I'm done, many of you mentioned the biases that you've noticed in your life, and you go through it. So I'm going to rush through some of these. I want you, if you can take screenshots, you can take notes, write it down, and even research and read about it after today's session. Like I said, the reason why we're looking at these biases is because success is a result of repeated sound decisions, and decisions are built from biases that we go through. Biases silently influence our thinking and behavior, and what you think is who you become. And for you to grow, you must understand and overcome some mental filters. Remember last week, I talked about mental filters, and I talked about some of the mental cage that we may put ourselves in, and some of the ways we can escape it, like having some principles of responsibility. I, myself, me, moi, whatever language you use, I'm responsible first for the situations that happen to me, not even external factors. Personalize it. And then you tell yourself that not what I do or what I say brings me value. I'm first a valuable person. This is a recap of what we learned last week. Now, like I said earlier, we are all biased one way or the other. We make judgments in every situation. Many people saw the link. Many people saw this link and made a decision to join and not to join. Many of you made a decision to join because of certain biases. Actually, you join because of a reason, and that reason is from a bias. And like I said, there are many more, but today I will be sharing just 5. just 5. These decisions often have invisible roots, which are our bias or biases. Every logical thinker are affected by emotional and cognitive bias. I'm going to tell you this for a fact. One of the things we teach in sales or you learn in sales is people use logical reasons to back up emotional decisions. We all buy because of emotions. So the emotional and cognitive bias. Today, I'll be talking on just 5 of the cognitive bias. Next week, I will pick on emotional bias. Now, biases shape our perception, shape our judgment, and then our decisions. So what different bias will make you see things differently from others. That's why somebody can say drinking water is very beneficial for your health. And then a strongman argument or can come and someone can make a judgment out of what the person has said and say, so you are saying Coke, Pepsi, and Bicola are poisonous. I didn't say that. But biases can make you form a perception from something or make a judgment or make a decision. Someone says water is most, that means this person that is saying only drinks water. The person may not only drink water, the person may have a proportion or must have apportioned the kind of amount of soda they drink in a month or in a week or in a year. So say I say drinking water as compared to drinking soda is the best thing you can ever do for your life. You can make a perception of me and say, I drink water, I don't even drink Coke. Whereas I didn't say that. These are why you made that decision is because of a bias. And when you identify some bias that affects your life, you would be able to make better decisions. Why? Because you'll be able to come back and check, why did I make this decision? Why did I make this judgment? Why do I perceive this person or this situation in this certain way? Bias impact us in different ways. Bias impacts what we believe. It impacts who we trust. It impacts how we judge others. Conscious decisions that limit success. So biases affect what we believe, who we trust. It affects what we reject. It affects how we judge. And the danger of this is we sometimes unconsciously make decisions that limit success. How do you know that you are biased? Recognizing bias is the first step to overcoming it. Because now many of you don't even know that you're biased in situations. One easy way is when someone that you like says something that does not agree with you, you may just overlook it or you may not accept it, or you just accept that the person is right. It's a bias. And I'm going to explain some of the things to us tonight. We'll explore 5 powerful cognitive biases that quietly control us. Like I said, they're emotional bias and they are cognitive biases. Today, we'll be looking at cognitive biases because we are looking at mental transformation. There are more than this, but I just picked 5. Like I said, I was also biased in picking the 5. The first bias I want to teach us about is, please hold on. The first bias I want to talk to us about is confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. Now, in simple terms, confirmation bias is, if I use a scripture to explain when he said in Timothy that a time will come when people will be looking for preachers that will tell them what they want to hear. That's confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when you favor an information that confirms what you already believe. That's confirmation bias. You are looking for people that will agree with your opinion. Let me tell you, this is not prophecy, this is something all of us do consciously or unconsciously. You look at a controversial post on WhatsApp, on Twitter or Instagram, and then you go to the comment section. If the comments do not agree with what you believe, you keep scrolling until you find the one that agrees with you, and you like, and then you reply that person. How many of you have done that before? Just raise up your hand. A controversial post was on social media, people had different opinions, and you were scrolling consciously to see the person that agrees with yours. And then when you saw it, you liked it and then replied the person and ignored the other people. If you've done it before, just raise your digital hand. Yes, I can see Precious raise the hand. Thank you very much. for doing that. Shows that you're attentive. Now we do that consciously or unconsciously. The example is reading news that align with your opinion. The current Israel, Iran, and American war. I've been wary of reading the media. Why? Because in school we're taught to be very objective. Thank you, Okikuluwa. In school, we were taught that the media should be objective, so you should write from an objective point of view. Put the information. Thank you, Oluwa Shimilori. Put the information you have in front of everyone so that they can make their own decisions from your writing. This is how the journalist should be. Unfortunately, propaganda has entered the media ecosystem. People now tell you what they want you to believe, which reinforces confirmation bias. So every day of our lives, we are consuming information that is built upon confirmation bias by somebody who is pushing an agenda. In the theories of communication, one of the theories is agenda setting, gatekeeper theory. Agenda setting is when somebody or some group of people decide to pass information in a way that he agrees with the agenda they are trying to push. Say, for example, you see recently that there are people that are doing advert materials for the current president, and they are putting it everywhere. And I'm wondering, this man has not even done 3 years in office. You're already campaigning for 2027. Is confirmation bias. Christiana, please. Okay, I think somebody is writing on the screen. Let me help you not to make that mistake. I see someone is writing on the screen by mistake. Let me stop so that you don't make that mistake. Please hold on. Okay. I think some people are trying to zoom in. Don't worry, the session is going to be recorded on my YouTube channel, so you can go back and check it. I need to remove this writing so it doesn't affect the quality of the video that we have. Okay. Sister, I think I don't know who did that for my mistake. Let's just go ahead. Let's go ahead. Okay. Sorry. Ignoring contrary evidence is one of the confirmation bias that affects people. People who are theologians, who are apologists, who defend the faith. Imagine you're talking to someone in another faith. A lot of times, confirmation bias affects everybody. Because if you are talking to atheists and you're talking to people who are of another faith and you ask them, if at the end of this, if it is true that Jesus is the way to God and is the Son of God, if we find out every evidence, physical, spiritual, scientific, that Jesus is God, died, resurrected, would you believe? Would you accept Jesus? And you notice how some of them will say no, especially atheists who are scientists. And then you are wondering, then why are you arguing to know better? If you cannot accept the fact that if all evidence presented today at this table proves true, you make a decision. That's confirmation bias. You will consciously ignore contrary evidence because you're looking for what will make you believe what you already believe. Have you seen people say something foolish online or stupid online and you see people supporting them? It's confirmation bias. And the impact of this is it limits your learning and you have flawed decisions because you are making decisions that are already aligning with what you believe. Say, for example, you believe based on your growing as a young man, oh, women should just be in the kitchen, they can't do this, do that. If you attend counseling sessions and people are telling you no, you shouldn't be like that, you struggle. You meant to hear someone say the best way to help your wife is work, keep her at home, let her enjoy. You say yes. That's confirmation bias. When you find it easier to agree with things that you already believe. Number two is Number two is actor observer bias. This is when you are conscious of yourself and other people, and then evaluate situation in opposite ways. Say, for example, when you mess up, you say it's due to circumstance. You confer the authority or the things that affect your decision or your reality on external factors. And when it is in the life of other people, you would say that the reason is internal factors. So if you write an exam and you fail, you say, "Oh, I failed because the test was hard." And if it's another person, you say, "Oh, she failed because she's lazy." So the actor observer bias is us using external factor as a way to defend our failure or circumstance, and then you use internal factor when you are referring to people. It affects your perception. So you are a leader, you make a mistake, say, "Oh, it's because I didn't see it." And when your subordinates or your direct report make the same mistake, you say it's because the person is not intelligent. This is an actor observer bias. This is what happened to toxic bosses and people who are narcissists. They do not see themselves as the problem. It's a bias. They will always make excuses for themselves, and you will make harsh decisions for others. You make harsh judgment on other people. Why? Because you are not giving the grace you give yourself to other people. And the impact of these biases, you become lazy because you will never take responsibility of your action. You keep seeing external forces as a result and impact in the way you live your life. Whereas if it happens to other people, you personalize it for them. This bias makes people become toxic, become narcissists, and become emotionless friends. Have you seen someone that would put pin on the chair for their friend to sit and they will laugh, and then when the friend does it back, they will slap the person and go angry and say, toxic people have actor observer bias. So if you find someone like that, you know that this is the problem. And a lot of times it does not make sense. You're like, but you said we wrote exam together. You said, hey, I didn't pass because the person, this is what the lecturer gave me. And then when another person fails, you say, you didn't read well. This is an actor observer bias. It makes you proud, makes you not susceptible to change. That's one of the problems of an actor observer bias. And I'm sure some of you will have started seeing this bias in your life. If you're in a position of leadership, it is going to be dangerous for you to have this bias. Why? You will not see the good in people. Hindsight bias is the third kind of bias that we are going to be looking at today. And it's believing that you know it all after an event happens. So it's having a solution, or don't let me say solution. Hindsight bias is having a conclusion. Yes, that's the word. It's having a conclusion on a situation and then seeing that eventually happens. So example is, I knew that candidate will win. I knew I shouldn't have trusted him. I knew I shouldn't have done this. I knew I shouldn't. What it happens to you is it will bring overconfidence and you have poor risk management. Why? Because you would think that you're always right. And if you have the hindsight bias, hindsight is you knowing something before it happens. A lot of times, fear will speak to you and you think is having hindsight knowledge. So fear will say, don't do that thing, you will fail. Oh. And then when you eventually, because you keep saying, I'll fail, I'll fail, I'll fail, when you fail, you say, I knew I was going to fail. Oh. Then you stop making decisions and you stop taking risk. This is the hindsight bias. When you just feel like, I knew this will happen. I was talking to someone recently, she was talking to me and she was like, oh, how do I overcome, someone trying to know me and I'm just not, it's hindsight bias. Hindsight bias sometimes happens to us when we go through bad situation and then we form a conclusion from it. And then without knowing, when other new situations come up, because of hindsight bias, you just imagine that that's what is going to happen. It happens to a lot of us. The next kind of bias is anchoring bias. Is relying too heavily on the first piece of information offered. One dangerous thing about this is, say for example, believers' doctrine. Someone shares something to you. I saw someone say something recently, and he said that Christ is the container, Jesus is the container, Christ is God, and I'm like, nah, this is an heresy that's been debunked many years ago. separating the body, separating Jesus and separating man and divinity, making them look like two separate people. Is one person because Jesus was fully God and fully man. But tonight is not a night for theology or doctrine. But anchoring bias is you making a decision from the first information you hear. I'm sure many of us, how many of you have suffered this in the hands of your parents? The moment somebody went to meet them, they did not want to hear what you were going to say again. Or you've suffered this in the hands of people that you love. Because they heard the first information, they didn't wait for you, and then they just made a decision. Has it happened to anybody? Okay, I see Fola Shadi said, raise the hand. Yes, any other person? Any other person? All right, I had the call coming. Okay, so I see some people have raised their hand. Queen said, yes, I have. Folashade. Oh, I see a lot of people have raised their hand. Shemilo, it has happened to you. Shemilogo, it has happened to you. Sheshe, the two Shays, it has happened to you, the two of you. Okay, so, and the dangerous thing is if you don't identify this, it might happen to you too. So the first prize in a negotiation becomes your benchmark. Random numbers skew your judgment. So you wake up in the morning and just see someone wearing number 24. And then when you go out, you start making, when you're making a decision, they say pick a lucky number. You say I pick 24. If you watch a movie by Will Smith, I can't remember, it's not Gifted Hands. I can't remember the name of the movie now. It's a movie where he was teaching someone how to steal, and then he programmed someone to make a bet. And he was teaching her how the guy is Korean, and some certain numbers, the person stay in the hotel. They pasted some numbers in the wall, on the hotel wall. They bought some jerseys for some people and put the same number on all of them. So when he drove by, when he passed the hotel, he saw the number. When he drove by, he saw the number. They played a song on radio that kept repeating the number. They were conditioning his mind. So when they say, yeah, place a bet, he placed a bet on the odds. They were programming him. And it happens to many of us. It happens to many of us. It makes you misjudge situation. This is the impact. And then you make poor decision in negotiation or planning. So because you've heard the number before, you just start making decision on that. And some of our mothers know how to break this anchoring bias. They tell you it's 5,000. Your mother say, Kogba 1, 2. How many of us have gone to the market with our mothers before? Those women know how to shatter anchoring bias in negotiation because they already know and believe that money you put, you have scaled it up so that I will not bring it. Then they bring down to the reckless minimum. This is anchoring bias. Aha, someone says, yes, sir. The last time I was telling people, Victoria's raised her hand. I went to the market with my mother. I was telling people at MSVI, and the guy called me, I think 5,000, 6,000. I was like, yeah, Olu, let's go. And that woman priced that into 1, 2 or so. That's the very first time I was very happy that this woman's breaking and calling bias worked in my favor. Unlike when I was unmarried and we go together to the market and I'm shy and afraid to stand beside her. But now I'm a father, a lot of expenses. I said, yeah, Olu, please do it. So they do it for me. This is anchoring bias. And then finally, false concession bias. Now, this is overestimating how much others agree with you. If you are a leader, you're a speaker, you're a pastor, you're an influencer, there's a high tendency that you will fall short of confirmation or false consensus effect. You assume that everybody thinks like you. You ignore that people's perspective. You are egoistic. The impact of this bias is you miscommunicate a lot and it will cause conflict and miss opportunity because you are imagining for people, you are thinking for people, and they're like, this is not who I am, this is not what I'm thinking. You're like, no, blah, 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 blah. False concession effect is overestimating your opinion over others. is believing that people think you are the most intelligent person in your field. And if you want to break out of this, you need to surround yourself with people who will tell you the hard truth. Now that I've mentioned some of this, how do we now make better decisions? In fact, before we go there, can many of you can everyone mention some of the biases that you've noticed that you yourself you've done? Some of the bias, or you've suffered from, or you noticed that you've done before. Just drop it in there. Let me do a recap for you, for everyone. So there's confirmation bias. This is when you are looking for answers that align with. Yes, thank you. Apostle says confirmation bias. The other one is actor observer bias, where external factors affect you, but when it comes to other people, you internalize it for them. When you make a mistake, you say it's because of this, but when others make mistakes, you say it's because of them. Hindsight bias is when you already believe that something was going to happen, like, yes, I knew it was going to happen, and it causes you to make wrong decisions. Anchoring bias is you rely heavily on the first piece of information, first piece of number, and then every other thing. So someone starts from 500K, you be like, I can't go lower than that, and all of that. And then false concession effect. You assume everybody thinks like you ignore people's opinion, you have this hero mentality because you're a leader in your department. You believe that everybody should understand what you are saying, and then you miscommunicate and it causes conflict because people are asking you, this is not what I think. And you're like, no, you should think like me. Because say, for example, you have a master's degree in a certain field, you expect others to also do the same with you. Now we'll be looking at how we can overcome this. Now, okay, I see. Thank you very much. I've also said confirmation bias. Christina said confirmation bias and sometimes hindsight bias. Okay, ladies suffer from hindsight bias a lot when it even relates to the male gender and the female gender. It's, if you notice, if you do a sensor of the gender of people, the gender that would measure hindsight, you notice that we have more ladies than guys. So Victoria says confirmation bias. Shimlogo says confirmation bias. And why is it so? That's because a lot of times women connect faster to their emotion as compared to the male gender. An average, not all women. They connect, and that is a strength at the same time a weakness. For men, they will say they connect more to the logical side and emotion. It's both strength and weakness. Flash study said confirmation bias and anchoring bias. I want other people to share. I need other people. We are over 28 on the call. So I want other people to share. What kind of bias have you noticed? What kind of bias have you noticed? So while I'm waiting for you to share, here comes the solution. How can you overcome some of these biases? Like I said, there are more than this. I just picked these 5 because I believe that a lot of us will relate to it because of our age bracket, and a lot of us are business people and career people. So I picked this. You can also read more. Next week, we'll look at emotional bias. This week, we look at cognitive bias. Well, no, the first step for you to overcome bias is be aware, be conscious of yourself, your situation, and potential bias. So, what is influencing the decision? When you make a decision, ask yourself, why did I say this? You are going to a church. There's some other bias that has to do with following what other people are saying. There are many biases, many, but you can read off. Ask yourself, what's influencing my decision? Why am I making this? Is it because this person said there's a halo effect bias where you respect somebody so much that whatever they say, you take it hook, line, and sinker. I didn't mention it here, but it's one of the bias. So ask yourself, why am I taking this decision? Am I doing this because so say for example, someone says, can we meet? Or, oh, I want to come and see your parents. And then you have an answered bias that this guy is not serious. You eventually break up with me. Then you tell him, I don't want to see my parents yet. So you ask yourself, why am I making this decision? Is it because I already envisaged that they will break up with me, which is an hindsight bias? So ask yourself, be conscious of yourself, of your situation, and your potential bias. What is making me act in this way? Number 2, reflect. Learn from your past decisions. A lot of times, the situation may not be the same, but the circumstance might be the same. And sometimes circumstance might be the same, situation may not be the same. The situation is the same, circumstance might not be the same. Learn from your past decisions, because the decisions you make before have results that you are either enjoying now or you're suffering from. So while you are trying to make a decision, learn from your past experiences. Learn from the biases that influence the decision that you made. Why are you attending the church you're attending? Is it because everybody's talking about it? Is it because you believe that this and this is going to happen there? Why did you decide to accept this job? Is it because you believe that other people see bankers as good people or successful people, or bankers end up well? Why do you want to go into business so that you can pressure people? Check your bias. What could you have done better? How will I act differently next time? Evaluate at all situations. Someone got you angry. Ask yourself, did I do well? Was I bad? The feedback I gave, was it good? As a leader, check yourself. Do I have the actor observer bias? Do I bring down people and give excuse for myself? How can I do better? Okay, I feel shy owning up to my mistake, but yes, I have to own up to it. Heal and don't live in past mistake. Grow from them. Number 3, stay curious at all times. Ask questions. Ask yourself and ask others. Ask questions at all times. You've agreed we'll do it for 40,000. Okay, no problem. You have the money. They ask, wait, why 40,000? Actually, what can I get more for 40,000? Can't it be less? Can I get this? Ask yourself questions and ask other people questions. A lot of times, when you keep probing people, you'll notice that they don't have a reason why they are making the decisions that they are making. Why do you say yes to him? Because I like him. Okay, why do you like him? Because he's prayerful. Why do you like a boy that is prayerful? Blah, 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 blah. Elon Musk once said he has one principle of employing people. He asks them 3 how. We worked on this, but how did you do it? Oh, we planned and this. Okay, how did you plan? Oh, we bought from this. How did you buy from? He said if you ask people 3 times how, and they're able to answer the question, you will know that they were involved in what they did. And then that person is a good employer. So ask questions, ask yourself questions. Why am I doing this? Why do I believe this? Why do I think I had a bias? Some of us can have bias for tribes and gender and skin color and I used to tell myself, nah, I'll never marry a Igbo woman. Why? Because I had a bias of thinking, they don't, as a Yoruba man, I'm very big on respect. And I don't think they teach them the way the Yoruba teach them. So I'm like, nah, let me just avoid any issue. Because I can be very peaceful, I'm not shouting. But the only thing that will cause problem with me and someone is don't disrespect me. Because I will not do that. So I had that bias until the Lord did a work in me and I started changing. And today I have a beautiful Igbo wife. Hallelujah. Who has given me a beautiful daughter who is half Yoruba, half Igbo. Be open to new insight and different perspective. Sometimes take it in, write it down, say, okay, this person said this thing that's different from what I believe. Is it true? There's no damage and no disgrace in accepting new beliefs. It is actually a sign, like I said last week, it's a sign of a strong mindset, your ability to learn new things and change. Stubbornness is not a strong mindset. A stubborn person does not change, even when the facts are saying that they should do otherwise. Be open to new insights, new information, and different perspective. Yes, this, okay. Sometimes you can look at international law, Iran, Israel, and you can, wait, is Israel wrong? Oh, is Iran wrong? Sit down, look at it. What is really the situation? Because a mind that is open to reviewing new insight and receiving different perspective and analyzing it is a mind that is strong and is ready to grow. Number 4, embrace growth. Adopt a growth mindset. Build a learning structure and regularly act on what you learn. Someone asked me last week, how do I grow? How do I know what to learn? Build a learning structure. Every time, like I said earlier, as the Lord helps me, I'm going to create a 7-day or 5-day learning model. Is going to be paid for and invite some people that will help us in the next 3 months or half year in 2025. Adopt a growth mindset. Tell yourself, simple way to adopt a growth mindset. I'm going to learn every time. So how you do build a learning structure? First 2 months or this month, I will learn about coding, or I'll learn about writing, or I'll learn about emotional intelligence. Every other information that is coming may look important, but tell yourself, I must learn about this. Because if you don't learn with purpose, it will only be information. And regularly act on what you want to learn. So when you have a learning structure, you'll be able to act on it. Number 5, challenge yourself. Notice what makes you uncomfortable. Embrace opposing views. Don't push it away. Say, I don't necessarily agree with you, but let me hear what you have to say. Okay, this is what you say. Okay, let them know. I'll think about it and see if what you say is true as compared to my opinion. But let's leave it on the table. Listen to people from different backgrounds. You are Nigerian. Sometimes search what someone from Asia is talking about that topic. It will throw you off tangent. Sometimes for Christians, our interpretation of scripture is because of our foundation. Sometimes listen to people who are not where you are staying, and then you see that they have different view, and you notice, oh, actually, my bias is foundational bias. It's because of where I'm coming from. Read widely and deeply. Sometimes the way to detox your mind is take a book on medicine. Read about the bones in the leg, for example. It may not be important to you, but by the time you detox your mind, it helps you see things differently. I taught us some weeks ago how I used medical procedure to administer the prophetic. For 3 things they do: they check your vital signs. Number 2, they ask you for symptoms, and when they ask for symptoms, then they prescribe what you need to do. They ask for symptoms and they tell you, okay, are you feeling like this? Feeling like this? So what do I do? Sometimes I ask people questions to know, were you fasting? Were you this? Were you praying? Were you doing? And all of that. So read books in different industries. It detox your mind. It helps you see things differently. Then learn from others' experience. There will always be someone that has done what you are doing. Learn from them. Learn from their mistakes. When they tell you their mistake, you'll be able to notice their bias and you say, this mistake, I will not make it again. Final thoughts. Mental reconstruction is ongoing. It's not a one-time thing. To succeed, you must know your biases, question your assumptions, stay humble and hungry to learn. There's no pride in standing on this is how it used to be. That's another form of bias. Not changing from status quo. I think the status quo bias. But that's another bias. That this is how we've always been doing it will not change. Know your biases. Read up. I do this or I do this. It's possible for you to get your notes, write it down. I've noticed this bias in my life. Question your assumption. Why do I believe that if I fast to 12 or 3, that's the best way for me? Why do I believe that I must pray midnight prayers only? Why do I believe I don't need to pray midnight prayer? Why do I believe long prayer is not for me, that I should not pray in the night? Question your assumptions. Why do I believe not planning a day before will be good, or planning a day before? Question your assumptions. Ask yourself questions. And then finally, stay humble and be hungry to learn. A man who is not ready to learn, like I always say, is a man who is ready to die, because he will not grow. And we are already in a technological world where things are growing fast and in a pace where if you do not grow with the flow, you will go with the flow. You either grow with the flow or you go with the flow. You decide what you want your life to be. At this point, I'd like to take questions and answers and also feedback from this session, what you've learned and how this session has impacted you. After which, we'll draw the curtains and say thank you for tonight, and then we can have the feedback in the chat section. I promised that we're going to be very short this time, and I kept to my promise. Thank you all for listening. I'd like to take your questions and your feedback. If there are no questions, give me feedback. Let me know what you learned. Let me know if this is something you're learning for the first time, or if this is something you've known before, but it is bringing it to your remembrance. How do you feel? And what action would you take from this session? I'd like to see your feedback in the chat, after which we can call it. We can draw the curtains and say good night. All right.